Social media star turned boxer Jake Paul, he's set to face his toughest competition yet. He's going to face off against the former heavyweight champion, that would be Anthony Joshua. The fight's in Miami on December the 19th.
Ah! Come on. Security.
They laughed at him. When Jake Paul first said he wanted to be a boxer, the boxing world didn't just dismiss him, it mocked him. A YouTuber, a Disney kid, an influencer chasing relevance. Boxing, after all, was supposed to be sacred, built on blood, discipline, and generations of legacy. Not vlog cameras and algorithmic fame, but a few years later, something uncomfortable happened. Jake Paul didn't go away. He didn't get exposed. He didn't fade out. Instead, he started selling more fights than champions, filling arenas that real boxers couldn't, and making more money per fight than men who had trained their entire lives. Jake Paul didn't just enter boxing. He broke its business model, and the industry still doesn't know how to deal with it. Jake Paul's story doesn't start in a boxing gym. It starts on Vine. 6-second clips, pranks, loud behavior, manufactured chaos. Jake Paul was never the most talented creator, and he was the most aggressive. He understood attention before most people understood how powerful it could be.
I never was like, social media is the new wave. I was the wave. Driving a bit, right?
Yeah. I think that'd be a good short form clip. Yeah. And then maybe like we do like another intro like in the house.
It's up to you. I'm down for whatever. Like I don't really care. I've been in this game since I was 16 years old. People watching me.
Yo, get the off the property, bro. No.
By the time Vine collapsed, Jake had already migrated to YouTube, where controversy wasn't a liability, well, it was fuel. Every scandal, every beef, every headline made the algorithm work harder for him. And while most influencers burned out chasing clicks, Jake did something different. He turned fame into leverage. Music deals, merch empires, sponsorships, reality TV level exposure. By his early 20s, Jake Paul wasn't just famous, and he was rich, connected, and polarizing, which is exactly when he chose to pivot. In 2018, Jake Paul stepped into a boxing ring for the first time against fellow YouTuber Deji. Boxing purists rolled their eyes, but Jake won, and more importantly, people watched. That fight revealed something the boxing establishment had been ignoring for years. Boxing didn't have a talent problem, it had an attention problem. You could be the best fighter in the world and still struggle to sell tickets. Meanwhile, Jake Paul could tweet once and move millions, so he doubled down. Jake Paul trained obsessively, not like a hobbyist, but like a man with something to prove. Elite trainers, daily camps, full discipline. While critics called him a fraud, Jake was quietly building real skills. Then he did something smarter. He didn't fight boxers, he fought names, former NBA players, MMA champions, legends past their prime. Every matchup was calculated. Every opponent came with a built-in audience. Nate Robinson, Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, Anderson Silva. Each fight wasn't just a sporting event, well, it was a spectacle. And the boxing world hated him for it. But fans paid. Pay-per-view numbers climbed, millions flowed in. Jake Paul was doing what promoters had failed to do for decades. He made people care again. Then came the moment boxing insiders were waiting for. Tommy Fury, a real boxer from a fighting family, with everything Jake supposedly lacked. If Jake lost, the experiment would be over. And Jake did lose. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The loss didn't hurt him. It made him more legitimate. Because for the first time, Jake Paul proved he wasn't running forever. He was stepping closer to real competition and surviving. After the Fury loss, Jake Paul did something no influencer turned fighter was expected to do. He evolved. He stopped pretending boxing was just entertainment. He leaned into the grind, and he started talking about the business. Because Jake Paul wasn't just fighting boxers anymore. He was challenging boxing itself. In 2021, Jake co-founded Most Valuable Promotions, an independent boxing promotion designed to do what legacy promoters refuse to do: pay fighters fairly, market aggressively, give women main events, control your own destiny. This is where the disruption became dangerous. Because boxing is a cartel, sanctioning bodies, promoters, networks, managers, everyone takes a cut, except the fighters. Jake Paul publicly attacked that system. He exposed contracts, called out exploitation, demanded unionization. Boxing elites weren't just annoyed anymore, they were threatened. Then came the moment that changed everything: Netflix. For decades, boxing relied on pay-per-view, an outdated, restrictive model that punished fans and limited reach. Jake Paul saw something different. In 2024, he headlined a massive fight on Netflix against the great Mike Tyson, a deal that bypassed paywalls, cable boxes, and traditional broadcasters, bringing boxing into the streaming era with global reach. Netflix didn't choose a champion. They chose attention, and Jake Paul delivered it. Streaming records shattered. Social media exploded, and boxing once again found itself embarrassed by an outsider. That single deal sent shockwaves through the sport. Because it proved boxing didn't need traditional broadcasters anymore. It could thrive on modern distribution if someone with enough attention power led the charge. This success led to an even more audacious idea. What if Jake Paul didn't just headline Netflix cards, but faced one of professional boxing's biggest names? That name was Anthony Joshua, a former two-time unified heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist, and one of the most decorated heavyweights of his generation. The fight was announced for December 19, 2025 at Miami's Kaseya Center, streamed live on Netflix. 8 rounds, heavyweight gloves, and a staggering purse that rivaled some of boxing's biggest spectacles of the decade. By the time the bell rang, this wasn't just a boxing match. It was the ultimate clash of worlds, a social media disruptor versus a traditional boxing icon, entertainment versus sport, algorithm versus pedigree, legacy versus disruption. And today, it finally happened. In front of a global audience on Netflix, Jake Paul stepped into the ring with Anthony Joshua for one of the most anticipated crossover fights in history. Paul started with determination, landing shots and showing movement, but Joshua's experience and power told increasingly over the rounds. By the 6th round, Joshua's pressure and precision culminated in a decisive knockout, ending the fight and handing Jake Paul his first loss at this elite level. It was a dramatic moment, not because Paul was destroyed, but because the fight even happened at this scale. A YouTuber turned boxer, headlining a global Netflix sports event against one of boxing's biggest names, and holding his own for rounds against a former world champion. That's disruption. Boxing purists called it spectacle. Critics called it mismatch. Fans called it historic. The outcome doesn't diminish Paul's impact because the narrative has shifted. Jake Paul proved he could earn the right to share a stage with boxing royalty. And even in defeat, he forced the sport to confront a new reality. The biggest fights aren't just sold by rankings and belts anymore, they're sold by attention. Today, Jake Paul exists in a space no one prepared for. Not a champion, not a clown, not a traditional boxer. He's a proof of concept, proof that attention is more valuable than titles, proof that boxing's gatekeepers aren't gatekeepers anymore, proof that a new era has arrived. You don't have to like Jake Paul, you don't have to respect his boxing skills, but you cannot deny what he's done. He exposed boxing's weaknesses, he rewired its economics, he is bringing a new generation of fans to boxing arenas, and he forced a centuries-old sport to evolve on the internet's terms. Jake Paul didn't save boxing, he brought it back to life. And in doing so, he may have changed it forever. Because the most dangerous fighter in boxing today isn't the one with the hardest punch. It's the one who controls the audience. And right now, that fighter is Jake Paul.